Tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, jikaze, America. Tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining me for an amazing session of the Daily African Proverbs here in the African Father in America podcast, AFIA Podcast. And I am in Seattle, Washington. I wonder where you are joining me from for today's conversation, but I would love to know. Share with me in the comments where you are joining me from. And also, let me know, what your thoughts are about an amazing proverb that we are just about to begin dissecting here. I'm just so excited to see Chef Gillian has joined us, and Steve has also joined us on Clubhouse. So if you're watching this on YouTube, remember that we are multi-streaming. We are streaming on 2 different platforms. That's Clubhouse and also YouTube. I just want to take a second to set up a few things here before I go too far. So just bear with me. I'm trying to pin the link to the YouTube live stream onto the top of the room on Clubhouse. So, if you don't know about Clubhouse, I think it's a really amazing social audio app. It's a drop-in audio app where you can listen into conversations, contribute to conversations, and then, drop out of the conversation and carry on with your day. So this has been, a very consistent space that we have been cultivating since January 2021, where I have been identifying amazing African proverbs and bringing them here for us to dissect them and learn something from them, learn African wisdom from these proverbs. And today our proverb is all the way from Senegal, and it's it's teaching us quite a bit today. Most of our teaching is going to be around balancing personal goals and relationship needs. The proverb says, when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. Steve, I see that your mic is unmuted. Just say hello quickly. I'll come back to you to share with us your reflections in just a moment. Go ahead and say hi, then mute yourself.
Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Happy to have you all in today's session. Asante.
Wonderful. Thank you, Steve, for being here. And I also thank everyone else for being here. I want to encourage you to tap the add friends button on Clubhouse and ping in 3 to 5 people to join us for this conversation. And I just want to recognize M. Jewel, who is with us on YouTube. M. Jewel is saying, Grand Rising, Simon. This is Gogo Dinner Day. Well, yes, Gogo Rutendo Ngara was supposed to join us today, but she's coming back from next Thursday. So expect to see Gogo Rutendo Ngara every Thursday from next Thursday. Gogo Rutendo Ngara is a very, very special, person to me, especially because she's one of the few left African spiritual leaders that we have, around the continent that are recognized internationally. She was just in the US recently, in California, in Hawaii, for a global, gathering of leaders, indigenous wisdom leaders from across the world. I was connected to Gogo Rutendo Ngara by Jay Naidu, who is the former Minister of Communication for South Africa. And I just want to let those who know Gogo Rutendo that she's going to be back next Thursday. We took a break the whole of April, so this week is our first week of doing the daily African proverbs after a while. So as I was saying earlier, the daily African proverbs today takes us on a long journey all the way to Senegal. And the proverb says, when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. And we all know that sometimes it can be challenging to set our own personal goals and balance it with the needs of our relationships. We all have very many relationships, actually. You have, the relationship with your significant other, and then you have the relationship with your children, if you have children. You have even relationships with your pets, relationships with your colleagues at work. So many relationships to maintain and to balance. So this proverb from Senegal speaks to how do you balance personal goals and relationships, So we also learned that, many times we are forced to choose between our own personal goals and all these other relationships, the people we love and the things that we care about. So what this proverb is teaching us is, how do we find a balance? How do we find a balance in the midst of all the chaos? Again, the proverb says, when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. So I have 6 takeaways that I want to share. 6 takeaways that I want to share with you right now before we go too far into our conversation. And I will also share them towards the end of our time together. But before I do that, I want to take a minute and I want to ping in a few people to join us for today's conversation. So if you want, just take a minute together with me. I'm just going to tap my invite buttons, and I'm going to share this room on Twitter. That's for those who are on Clubhouse. I am sharing the link to this live stream on Twitter. And if you are on YouTube, please remember to share the link as well with your friends and community members, and also share your interpretation of this proverb in the comments there. If you're on Clubhouse and you can't speak, please tap the chat button and make sure you leave your perspectives there, and I will be able to read them to everybody else. I'm just taking a minute here to invite a few more people. Martha, it's nice to see you, and Yen and Chef, I also see you. So thank you again for being here. I am just about to continue on and share the 6 takeaways from our conversation and just continue deepening, the dialogue that we are having here today. Perfect. Yeah. So balancing personal relationships with, the goals that you have, your career goals and everything it's challenging. It's challenging, and I definitely feel like I'm getting better at it as I'm getting older. I have time that I have set aside for my significant other, where I know that I intentionally create time for us to do things together, for us to do things that we used to do before we had children, and also I have my own personal goals. I use my calendar a lot as something that guides me, and then I have a lot of apps that I also use, Calendly, and this is not part of the takeaways. The first takeaway that I want to share in regards to balancing personal goals and relationships, and this is guided by an African proverb. This is guided by a Senegalese proverb. If you haven't heard the proverb yet, it says, when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. So think about that for a moment. And in the meantime, I want to share 6 different takeaways that will help you with balancing personal goals and relationship needs. Number 1, define your personal goals. What are your personal goals? Do you want to continue doing your 9-to-5 job? And if that's the case, where do you want to take it? Do you want to stay fit? If that's the case, where do you want to take it? Do you want to maintain the diet that you're still eating? If that's the case, where do you want to take it? So, at a personal level, there's also a lot of healing and mental health work that each one of us currently have to do. Yesterday I was talking to a friend who is a doctor in Alaska that does a lot of research. He was in Seattle, visiting Fred Hutch, which is a big cancer research institute globally. And we were just talking about the mental health crisis amongst youths, but also amongst adults and even elderly people. It's impacting a lot of the work he's doing. And, the suicide rates, especially in Alaska amongst the native tribes, has just skyrocketed. So what are your personal goals? Define them. And then define what's important to you. Many times we just go with the flow because that's what's good for everybody else. But at a personal level, is going with the flow and doing the same routine and pursuing the same career. Is that the best thing for you and your community and your family? You have to think about that and and decide what's most important to you. Number 2, evaluate your relationships with others and how they support or hinder your personal goals. This one is a very difficult one because here you have to be willing to lose a few friends in order to gain a peace of mind, So constantly evaluating who is it that, is in your inner circle and do they deserve to be there, And also in whose inner circle are you and do you need to continue being there, Number 3, communicate openly with people in your life about what you are trying to achieve. This one is hard for me personally because a lot of the time I always feel like if you tell too many people what you're trying to do, you kind of take away the juice from it. So I like surprising people with a lot of the things I do, but lately I'm learning the value of sharing enough so that I can get guidance and advice from members of my community. Now I'm at number 3. I have 3 more takeaways from today's conversation that I'm sharing, and we are just in the beginning of our conversation, so you can really help me out here. We are 7 people in the room. I would love for each one of you to just tap in with your community, ping in 3 to 5 people that you believe should be here for this conversation. That's for those who are on Clubhouse. For my friends who are on YouTube, I'll ask you to, if you haven't subscribed, remember to subscribe. If you haven't shared the link, remember to do the same. I do see that M. Jewel is adding a lot of comments there. I'll read them momentarily for you. Number 4, set boundaries with the people in your life who don't support your personal goals. There are people who they want to stick around, but they just want to bring bad vibes. They're the people that anything you share with them, they discourage you or they say things that always break your heart, And so there are friends that, are not friends, They're not friends. Anyway, so think about that. Think about who is it that you need to set, better boundaries with, because all human beings are valuable. So even if you find a friend that is not a friend, how do you set boundaries with them? If you used to meet them, hey Shanda, how are you doing? I'll give you a moment to speak and share your perspectives here in a second. Thank you so much for being here. And Luella, thank you for joining us. So I was just saying that the 4th takeaway is set boundaries with the people in your life who don't support your personal goals. It's okay. It's okay to meet someone once a year if you used to meet them once a week. And if you need to do that, that's okay. Number 5, celebrate each accomplishment, no matter how small, as you work towards achieving your personal goals. I have to say that because I produce the African Father in America podcast every Monday to Friday. This podcast, this show, the Daily African Proverbs, I celebrate, my friend. I celebrate after every episode. You know, the moment I push the end button, you know, I always celebrate. And I tell my daughters all about this proverb, all about how this conversation was. And so I encourage you to do the same, you know, however small it is. Yesterday I was sharing that sometime in life, I was sharing during this conversation that sometime in life, the biggest accomplishment is just being able to wake up, and is just being able to see the end of a day. Celebrate each day, celebrate each moment that you are able to wake up healthy without the assistance of a gadget or something like that. And then finally, don't be afraid to ask for help when needed. You know, it's funny, Stella arrived here when I was reading this one. You know, I asked a lot of help from Stella. I asked a lot of help from Steve. Steve, who is on the stage, was just helping me with negotiating a business situation right before we got into this room. So I always ask for help, but the ego gets in the way many times. So I feel like I'm learning how to do that now than I did even last week. So those are the 6 takeaways from our time together today. I will repeat them at the very end, but I do want to just recognize Altuvis, who is an amazing supporter of this space. She was one of the people who are supporting at the very beginning of the Daily African Proverbs. And it's nice to see you, Altuvis. And now I just want to open the floor for all of you who are with us on Clubhouse, and also to all of you who are with us on YouTube. We are discussing an amazing African proverb from Senegal. And this proverb is amazing because it's given us 6 beautiful nuggets of wisdom that hopefully helps us with balancing personal goals and relationships. The proverb says, when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. I want to hear from you, Steve. Just share with us a little more. What does this, what do you take away from this proverb, and what do you take away from the 6 nuggets that I shared? And also share with us your where you're joining us from, and your own perspectives on this proverb.
Thank you again, Simon. I'm Steven, joining from Kisumu, Kenya. And this proverb has kept me thinking because these are challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis, creating a balance between relationship and family, and also staying above your game, ensuring that the family is also happy. So I would just love to listen views from other speakers, because this is something that I've been fighting for a long time to create that balance. Sometimes you find yourself so much absorbed into personal goals and forget about relationship. Sometimes you get too much into relationship and forget about the goals, but then you find that if you forget about the other, one must suffer. And these 2 things have to be balanced, and they have to go along together, because without your personal accomplishments, then your relationship also cannot be healthy. And without a healthy relationship, you can't focus in your personal goals. So there are elements that need one another, so that you can easily accomplish the 2 successfully. So, and with the nuggets that Simon have just shared, uh, it was like you were directly speaking to me. So again, I'll just today I made sure I had a book and pen, and I made sure I wrote all these nuggets down, and I'm keen to take more notes as the session goes by. So again, for now, allow me to pass back the microphone back to you, Simon. I'm Steven, and that was my moment. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Steve. And I just appreciate what you're saying. That this is a constant work in progress. Sometimes I watch my friends who are painters, who are artists. They make complex, beautiful and powerful images. And sometimes when they are starting, you don't understand what they're trying to create. So they start, and even themselves, they don't know what they're creating at that time. So they stop, And then for a while, you don't see what they're working on. And then one day you see them posting and saying, this is what I have been working on. And you get so surprised, And sometime when they were off and you're not able to see what they were working on, they were balancing a different part that was more important than that piece of art, And so, just finding a balance really for me. And also, as you're saying, Steve, it's a constant work. It's a lifetime mission. Thank you again. Hey, Shanda, how are you doing? It's been a minute. Share with us your perspectives on today's proverb. It's from Senegal. It says, when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. Thanks a lot for being here.
Good morning, Simon. I got so excited when I saw your room. I am so excited to be here. I thank you for allowing me to join the speakers, and I apologize for me unmuting earlier. I just got so excited in hearing what you were saying. I think for that proverb, I think that it says a lot. And for me, I see things from a spiritual aspects. But for me, it says that, on the surface, there may be some tension and things going on, but underneath, there is love. So if we can get past the surface of everything and really get to the root of a thing, then we can understand that, that there is genuine love. And then out of that, we can clarify and work whatever out, as long as that relationship is rooted in love. And I think that coincides with a lot of what the points that you were sharing about, evaluating our relationships, because sometimes we can think someone is a friend, and that may not necessarily be the case. And so for me, what I heard from the proverb is that if at the root of a relationship there is love, then we can get through whatever difficulties may be at the surface. That's what I got. Thanks so much for allowing me to speak, Simon. I'm complete.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. Everything is at the root. And if there is love at the root, then everything else becomes easier. I love that. I love that. And thank you again for your contribution and your presence. It means a lot. Stella, how are you? Where are you joining us from today? And what are your perspectives on today's proverb? When the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. It's from Senegal.
Thank you, Simon. This is Stella from Kenya, and I'm so happy to be here today. Today it's not raining; it's sunny. Yesterday it rained so much, but today is it's sunny and beautiful.
Is it?
Though the rain is beautiful too.
I know. Is it
Is it?
planting season?
It's kind of confusing because there's a time we had planted and then the rains delayed, so they withered away. So people are like starting again. Some have grown. I don't know. It's a bit confusing, but I hope it will just come out well at the end of it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes. So today's proverb, it's such a beautiful one, and I agree with what Shanda said. I want to relate it to parenting because it's something I go through every day. I know most of us go through every day. Sometimes it's a bit hard to balance parenting and trying to work to fend for your family, because sometimes you find yourself so engrossed in work, trying to make ends meet, trying to do things, and you find yourself so absorbed in it that you feel like you've neglected your children. And sometimes they like come and complain that you work too much, you're always working, you're always working. But then at the end of the day, you just try your best to make sure that the children are happy. So for me personally, I've come up with a way that at the end of the day, I try to ask them if they're happy and just see if they're genuinely happy and stuff like that. So it works for me that way. Anyway, thank you, and that's my contribution.
Well, that's wonderful. It reminds me of, it reminds me of a situation with my daughter yesterday. Actually, I'll share it in a moment. Here, I want to just quickly, give a big shout out to my brother Tutaleni and Madam Beans for being here. And I see Rich Mo. I just want to welcome you all, and Wendy and Whitney and Jasmine, Cornelia, Bibi, Latanza, Roger, and Kay. All of you are welcome. I would love to hear your voices and your perspectives on today's African proverb from Senegal. This proverb is teaching us so much. It says that when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. And we've shared 6 different nuggets that we researched before the room. I'll be sharing it at the end of the room in about 32 minutes. But for now, we are hearing different perspectives from our speakers on stage. So if you love African proverbs, if you want to share your wisdom, the stage is where you belong today. So I was saying that yesterday, my oldest daughter, who is 8, was home. She didn't go to school, and so she was not feeling well. Her throat was hurting or painful. And so I had Zoom calls and stuff to do on my laptop. And she knows that we have limited time for them to be on the screen. So she was saying, I know I'm sick, but being sick is so boring. I don't just want to be home and read, and I want to watch a TV show. And then I told her, no, you can't watch a TV show. It's no time for TV. Then she said, but you're on your computer. That's a screen too. And then I say, well, I'm working. And then she said, well, I want you to come and help me paint my nails. I think that's more entertaining. Then I thought that's a great idea, So I was trying to balance between finishing a project for a client and painting for her nails, which I love to do, So it took me like an hour before I eventually left my computer and went and painted her nails. But the result was really good, because by the end of the day, she was still talking about her nails, and my client was not talking about the job I did for her. So I was like, I found a neat balance today, but it never happens like that every day. Sometimes I don't even listen to her. Sometimes I brush her off and I say, oh, no. Work is the most important thing. You and your nails and your ideas, you should probably go in your room and close the door and read. And I feel like those are probably the most discouraging moments for children, when you just push them on the side completely because they don't understand. So I feel like yesterday I did a good job, and I have to applaud myself for that. Altovis, how are you doing? It's been a minute. What are your perspectives on today's proverb from Senegal?
Oh my goodness, it's always a pleasure being in your room, Simon. Always such great wisdom. And listening to this morning's proverb, I said, wow, it's interesting because immediately I thought about when we're in a storm. And it's almost as if the branches are fighting the wind and the rain, but underneath is what's holding the tree in place. And so even when the branches move, so even when things in our life kind of shifts around, it's whatever we're rooted in that kind of keeps us planted. And that's, our faith, our family, what it is that is at the root of who we are, the things that are at the root in our heart are what's keeping us planted in that position. So that way, no matter what comes our way, no matter what comes to fight us, we still have something firm to stand on. And I think that's so valuable and important. Now more than ever, we're seeing the value of what the roots really mean, and not just for us, because we know that also when you have good roots, it also puts some nourishment back into the ground. And so I'm not only allowing myself to be strong to stay in place, but I'm also providing support for where it is that I'm standing. This is Altavis, and I am complete.
Thank you, Altuvis. Thank you so much. I love that. I love the emphasis on the roots, and why it's important to know that no matter what's going on out in the surface, as long as you're rooted and you're nourishing the most important aspect of your life that you consider as your roots, then everything is eventually going to be okay. And since, as I saw your comment in the chats there, I will share a picture of the painted nails. Now, I want to continue on and invite Nikki. Nikki, how are you doing today? And what are your perspectives on this wonderful proverb from Senegal? Before you share, though, I want to just remind everyone that this year we are also doing the 24-hour Africa Day Marathon here on Clubhouse. It's on May 25th, which is a Wednesday, and we are going to be here for 24 good hours representing the motherland, bringing important conversations about sustaining a healthy Africa. So, Sensors, get ready to speak about that in just a moment, just to help our audience members understand the amount of work we've been doing since the last Africa Day until today. Nikki, the mic is yours. Okay, Nikki might be away from her microphone, so we will come back to you. I will go straight to Sensors for now. Sensors, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from? And what are your thoughts on this amazing Senegalese proverb?
Good morning. Good morning, Simon, and good morning, everyone. I am joining you all from the Midwest. How are you all? Great to see you today. Simon, welcome back to another season of African Proverbs, African Father in America. So I am really happy to be here. Simon, I'm trying to check for the proverb. I can't see it clearly.
Oh, it says, when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. This is a Senegalese proverb.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much. And I see that you're connecting it to balancing personal goals and relationship needs. How do people find middle ground? Well, thank you. So when I look at this, I think part of it is understanding how the role of your relationship plays in achieving even your personal goals. I think when you are able to see the importance of the two in your life and the different things that they feed into, then you value them and you prioritize them. And that does not mean that one takes over the other, but it means that you are able to delineate at which point do you need to prioritize a certain part of your personal goals and at which point do you need to prioritize your relationship needs. And I think it's also about having balance in terms of those around you, whether it's your family members, your partners, or relatives, just some kind of balance where you know you have a support and community within to help lift you up or be there for you when you need assistance in the other part. So that is really where I can add value to it. And I think it really connects with the with the proverb. So as the tree grows and branches all over, the roots also expand and deepen because there is deepen into the ground. So one part I will bring back to connect it to balancing. It's also how rooted do you have roots? Are you attached to certain morals, or do you have certain codes of conduct that you live by? Because some of those values are the ones that help you flourish. And without them, you have no control over anything in your life. So that is my understanding. Now I'm going to move over to Africa Day. Africa Day is coming up 25th of May. Okay. So Africa Day is coming up 25th of May. We are excited about it. We have 24-hour marathon and great discussion from our theme, which is focused on sustaining a healthy Africa, focusing on food security, on agriculture, moving on into education as some of it, and there are other little pieces in the middle. Please join the Africa Day Club. You'll see all of us on stage here, I think, are already within the Africa Day Club, and I think you will see that we even have the schedule for Africa Day, 25th of May. I'm happy to see you, Tuteleni, here because you bring us great perspective from Namibia. So please, everyone, I want to reiterate this. The Africa Day preparations happen every Saturday, and there are small breakaway team meetings that are also happening. This is all voluntary. So when you see people up there, it's not that we're selected or we are paid or any of the above. No, it is that we want to bring this, we want to share with people, we want to educate and enlighten. This is what we want to do. So please join us if you are passionate, if you are interested, and be part of the discussions. This is Census. I am complete.
Thank you very much, Census. I appreciate you sharing with us, your perspectives and also the information about Africa Day 2022. Now I want to move on swiftly to Lauren. Lauren, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from? And what are your thoughts on what you've heard so far and this amazing proverb from Senegal? It says, when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. Thank you so much.
Good morning, good afternoon, and or evening, depending on wherever you're joining from. So I am joining from the American Midwest. As I was listening, unfortunately, I came in after the room had begun. I think you had already shared a little bit more, Simon, but as I've been listening.
Any chance you could move closer to your mic? Thank you so much.
Is this better?
It's so good. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. As I was just listening to the previous speakers and just kind of reflecting on what I think of this proverb, I'm taken back to the place where I often used to think that my parents or the elders in my life were being incredibly unfair, right? Like when I'm just a child wanting to be a child and not wanting to listen to reason or anything. I say that because I'm at a stage where I have to ask myself questions of what does balance between personal goals and professional goals look like, and where's that intersection? How does it happen in a healthy way? I can never begin to ask that question. I can never begin to find the answers before I look at what the roots look like, right? And so I always defer back to the things that help me, that keep me grounded, right? The values. I think a previous speaker had talked about like those values, what my moral compass looks like, and all of it just comes from a space where I've been poured into, whether by natural family, chosen family, whatever the community looks like. And so I think to myself that I'm always going to defer back to what that foundation looks like, right? Because underneath that foundation is where those roots are. And it gives me enough perspective to want to be a better human being because I've had the privilege of being poured into in a way that my roots can be firm. It gives me the perspective, but also the desire to want to be a better human being so that I can pour into the next person, right? So remaining rooted allows for the, if you will, the transfer of all of that, whether you want to call it information, all those life teachings, allows for the transfer of that from the roots all the way to the branches. And this is how my branches continue to have perspective, and this is how my branches don't get tangled up. And if they do, I often will think about how to tap back into the roots. And equally so, how to pour into the next person, how to pay it forward, so to speak. So I think for me, I'm always going to be thinking about what, who poured into me and what did it look like? Because at any given, and it's a continuous process, even as I navigate time and space, as an adult, I still need community to pour into me to keep those roots getting firmer and firmer as my tree branches grows, if you will. So I think that that's where I'll end. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. I deeply appreciate your contribution today. And I hope I'll see you tomorrow. And I hope I'll see all of you tomorrow, actually. My goal is to build this little village of ours, the Daily African Proverbs, into something that is important to all of us. I would love to see us show up as much as we can on a consistent basis so that we create a sacred space, where we can come and find this balance that we are talking about here today. So again, thank you, Lauren. Now I'm at you, my brother Tutaleni. I haven't heard your voice in a while, so I'll pass you the mic so that you share with us your perspectives. First, share with us your thoughts on this proverb from Senegal. When the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. And then share with us, what your perspectives are on Africa Day last year, and you have access to the program this year, just a few comments on that. And also, finally, what you have going on in the Namibia house. We would love to learn that as well. And let us know where you're joining us from as well. Thank you very much.
My brother Simon, thank you. It's always good to be in this space with you and curating these proverbs and giving us wisdom to either start off the day, to end the day, or just reflect on the day, depending on where we are. So, hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here with everyone. When I was looking at these proverbs, when I was reading it, there was an image that kept coming to my mind, which I never really understood until much later in life, when I would argue with my siblings and be really, really upset and either run to one of my elders or mother, and she would just laugh. They'll just laugh. The parents will just laugh, or we'll go to grandparents' house and all of us, the young kids, are screaming and making a lot of noise, and the grandparents are just looking on with a big smile. And for me, that's sort of what I picture on this proverbs. And I think they were smiling out of pride, just out of joy, to kind of just look at what they have created, to see their future, their offspring. So when I look at this proverb, when I think about, when the branches of the tree in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. For me, the roots that are kissing are our elders, those are our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors, when they're looking on while we are being loud, making a lot of noise, sometimes even screaming at each other. Even though we might be feeling hurt because our our younger siblings stole something from us or did something that we thought is unfair. Our elders are just looking back in joy because they're proud of what they have created. Because at the end of the day, in a lot of ways, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. So no matter what we are having going through, for them, it's just looking back in pride because we have been able to accomplish in a lot of ways what they have not been able to. So that's what comes to my mind when I read this proverb. But Africa Day was fantastic last year. We had a great time. I was very excited and honored to participate in a lot of different conversations. But one of my biggest and most favorite sessions was one that Auntie Beans, who's in the audience here with us, helped facilitate. Auntie Beans, for those who do not know, is the past Undersecretary General for the United Nations, who was also the special advisor on Africa. And she was able to also connect us with the current Undersecretary for Africa, I believe, Ms. Duarte, who both of them came on and talked to us about different topics, but more also the African Dialogues series, which Auntie Bean started when she was at the UN. So we had a lot of different conversations. I see here also my sister Cornelia is in the audience. Her and I collaborated on some Southern African rooms as well. So we have a lot of people who are right now on stage who have been involved in that organization as well. So many of us were involved. But I believe it was Census who said this, is that this is a volunteering space. It's us who are celebrating ourselves, celebrating our culture, promoting our values, and just being unapologetically Africans, and just being who we are and taking up space. So if you're in the room, hope you can participate this year. You can promote, you can invite others, and let's take over the space and really make not just an African day, but let's turn Clubhouse into our Africa on that day. So with that, Brother Simon, I'll pause here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, my brother Tuchaleni. Thank you for making the time for today's conversation and for your help with Africa Day this year. Bibi, how are you and how is the family? Share with us where you're joining us from and what today's proverb from Senegal means to you. It says, when the branches of the trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing.
Good morning, Simon. Good morning, everyone. So good to see everyone here. And before I go there, I just want to say, Simon, it was so beautiful watching your daughters.
Hi, Bibi. We just lost you. Could you get closer to your mic and just start over?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
It's much better. Thank you.
All right. Yes, I was saying that it was really lovely to see you and your daughters drumming yesterday, and just want to share how lovely that was to be involved in to get your kids involved in your passion and stuff. That's really beautiful.
Hey, Bibi, just to say something about that, I love drumming. I've been drumming since I was little. That's what we were drumming with, like food containers, like when my mom purchased for example, Blue Band, which was a popular thing that people smeared on bread. They had these containers that sounded really good for drumming, and I was really when we were drumming with my daughters last time, when you saw that video, one of our neighbors made it very uncomfortable for us. Here in America, being African is very hard. That's part of why I started the African Father in America podcast, just to be able to express myself so that I don't lose my mind, But I'm telling you, the drums we were playing, the neighbor came over the fence, from the other side and was completely yelling that we should not be playing drums there and we should go and play the drums inside, and also that we should not be talking in Kiswahili, because I talk to my daughters primarily in Kiswahili, so the neighbor was very, very mad. Anyway, it was a long drama that we sorted out, and we will not stop drumming. But I just want you all to know that try and do such things. Maybe it will help you know your neighbor very well.
Definitely. But yeah, it's crazy. It's like I guess that was an icebreaker. You get to know them, and I mean in a good way. Also, they spoke up, so that way you were aware as well. In case in the future you gotta know who. I mean, not just in the future. Now you get to know who your neighbor is and what they're like somehow.
Right. And also, it's one of the things that my daughters enjoy the most. During the pandemic in Seattle, there was about 2 months where we were only allowed to get out of the house like twice a day, because there was also there was a fire hazard. There was, in Portland, in Oregon State, just next door, there were forest fires and there was smoke everywhere. So people were strictly, not allowed to be outside maybe twice a day. And during those 2 moments, we would get out with the drums and just play. So for 5 years, we've been playing the drums, but it was just this weekend that we probably irritated a nerve or a demon in our neighbor that made them really, really get on our case. But I want to just bring it back to you and this proverb so that, I don't get too distracted.
No problem. Yes, today's Proverbs, I would go straight back to your I haven't read your book yet, but I will very soon. It all goes back to it, rooted in love. And I say it's like when your relationship, I would use marriage for example. It's like when you know who you're marrying, and you build that marriage on a strong foundation, love, which is also God, everything else falls in place. So it's like when it's strong, the voices of the outside will not matter, because you will only be hearing each other's voice and getting all that you need. So that's just my take for today. When you're rooted in love, which is the strongest foundation there is, your roots will always be strong, and the outside voices will not matter. And that's just my take. And with that, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bibi. I appreciate you and I appreciate your contributions. Jay, how are you today? Where are you joining us from? And what are your perspectives on this amazing Senegalese proverb? It says, when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing.
Good morning, dear brother. And I am joining you from South Seattle. So I was listening to what you were saying about Seattle, and I don't want people in this room to think that everyone in Seattle that's not a person of color, that's not African American or African, feels that way. It really depends on where you live in any city in this country, where you live. So I agree with BB. That was an opportunity to get to know that neighbor. If, depending on how long you've lived there, if you've never looked over the fence or looked through the bushes or invited that neighbor, that was now another way to try and break the ice and, figure out deep down what really was happening, what really was going on, and not necessarily just the drumming. There was something else about that person that allowed them to be bothered by the drumming and by the sound of your native tongue. So what I was so in South Seattle, you can come over here, you can drum anytime on my block, and guaranteed people will come out and they'll be happy to dance in the street. As a matter of fact, I am going to invite you over here. All of that being said, the proverb Tudolini and Bibi almost took exactly what I was going to say. They were so close. I think about the branches in any relationship, that you're going to have arguments, you're going to have disagreements, you're not going to be on the same page. Someone may need to take a walk around the block, or you can storm out of the room, and to someone else it looks like, oh my God, how are these people able to stay together? They're journaling in some sort of a conflict. And the first thing that came to mind was, don't get it twisted about the branches. Don't get it twisted. Just because it appears as though to you that we're in constant conflict or we're constantly disagreeing, but deep down, we love each other to the core. We're committed to this relationship. We're committed to our family. And that it is normal. What's happening is normal. It's understandable. It doesn't come to the point where someone's branch is broken and damaged. You can be so broken and damaged that those roots could end up dying. But it's only a normal relationship that will often overlap in terms of their disagreements. But deep down, the relationship is solid, is strong, is standing firm, is going to last, and it's going to be an example to others that no matter how much you disagree, you have to remember what's most important is to keep what you created, the tree, alive, the family strong, the relationship strong, your future clear. So that's my interpretation of that proverb. Thank you so much, Brother Simon.
Thank you, Jay. Yes, and I accept your invitation. We will be dancing, before you know it. I used to attend dance, African dance lessons with Mama Afua, together with my daughters, before the pandemic, and I am deeply involved with a lot of projects with her. But I definitely need to calm down and get the bodies moving. But I still need to make noise because Africa needs to penetrate all these other neighborhoods where we are not expected to be in. So expect more updates on that as well. There's no stopping. Now, I just want to look through the room and thank you all, from Velma all the way to Katie, all the way to Stephen. Thank you all for making the time to join us today. We have been having an amazing conversation guided by an African proverb from Senegal. The proverb says, when the branches of trees in the forest are fighting, the roots are kissing. And, we received so many nuggets from all of you who are in the room with us right now. And if you don't know, we are also live streaming this conversation on YouTube. So there are those who have been seeing my face and listening to you all over there. And so if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, the link is at the top of the room. That's one of the best ways to support this work and this effort that we are making to bring African culture and African roots to these digital spaces. So I want you to take a moment to do that while I read to you 6 of the takeaways that I am hoping you can take away from our conversation today, especially in relation to balancing personal goals and relationship needs, inspired by this Senegalese proverb. Number 1, define your personal goals and what's important to you. Number 2, evaluate your relationships with others and how they support or hinder your personal goals. Number 3, communicate openly with people in your life about what you are trying to accomplish. Number 4, set boundaries with the people in your life who don't support your personal goals. Number 5, celebrate each accomplishment, no matter how small, as you work towards achieving your personal goals. And then finally, don't be afraid to ask for help when needed. At the beginning of our conversation today, I expounded a little bit on each of these 6 items. So listen to the podcast on all podcasting platforms so that you catch it. It's on Apple Podcast, it's on Spotify, all the podcasting outlets out there, and also on YouTube. But recently we started a blog on my website. It's called Raise Your Consciousness blog. And we also turn these conversations into really, really beautiful articles, and we would love for you to read them as well. And really, finally, if you want to support me personally, get a copy of my book, Rooted in Love, and, I'll be able to sign it for you if you want and ship it to you. But the best way to order it that way is to just let me know. Send me a direct message on Instagram and let me know that you want a signed copy, and then we'll figure out how to ship it to you. But if you want to buy it online, go to my Instagram profile, and there's a link there, a Linktree link that will lead you to the actual link where you will learn a little bit more about Rooted in Love, and then grab a copy of it. Thank you all so much. This marks the end of our time together today. We will be back here tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then on Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be in the Africa Day Club. We will be planning Africa Day, going through the entire program. We are really looking for speakers and volunteers, people who can help with promoting Africa Day. If you're interested, also send me a direct message on Instagram, and I'll be able to send you more information. You can also reach out
Simon,
to... Yes, my dear.
before you close, I just want to first give a warm welcome to Bien Goanes. Thank you for coming to the Africa Day Club, to the Africa Father in America Club, Africa Proverb Club. And first, just to say thank you for all that you did within the United Nations, and also for joining us last year. I do hope that this year you will be able to also join and bring in some of the powerful giants that you stand with. So thank you to Teleni for bringing her into our spaces. We are really honored to just have her here. Back to you, Simon.
That is for sure. Madam Beans, we love and deeply appreciate you. And you made us so proud during Africa Day last year. And we hope you can truly join us this year as well. And thank you for your presence today. It meant so much. Is there anybody else on the stage that has any last minute thoughts before we wrap up? Okay, great. So then I'll see you all tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I am deeply grateful for all the support that you gave me today. Take good care of yourselves.
African Father in America. Tujikaze, jikaze. African Father in America. Tujikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.